The Iron Journey, the life story of Robert Downey Jr. Once upon a time in the bustling heart of Manhattan, on April 4, 1965, a boy was born into a world of flashing cameras and surreal dreams. His name was Robert John Downey Jr. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an avant-garde filmmaker, and his mother, Elsie Ann, an actress. The arts ran in his veins like fire through a wire, and from a young age, Robert Jr. was cast into the flickering glow of the movie screen. A star is born. Robert's childhood was as unconventional as his father's films. At the tender age of 5, he appeared in his father's film Pound, 1970, playing a puppy. But behind the camera's glamour lurked shadows. Downey Sr. introduced his son to drugs when he was just 8 years old, believing it to be a harmless bonding activity. This decision would cast a long and tragic shadow over Robert's early life. As a child, Robert lived in various cities, London, New York, Los Angeles, never staying still long enough to plant roots. He studied classical ballet in England and attended the Performing Arts High School in New York City, where he met other young talents like Sarah Jessica Parker, with whom he later shared a long relationship. Robert Downey Jr. S. charisma and raw talent were undeniable. He broke into Hollywood in the early 1980s with minor roles, eventually gaining widespread attention with the Brat Pack film Weird Science, 1985, and the dark, heart-wrenching role of Julian in Less Than Zero, 1987, where he played a rich, drug-addicted teenager, a role eerily close to reality. By the early 1990s, Downey had earned his place as a versatile and gifted actor. His role in Chaplin, 1992, was transformative. He captured the spirit and complexity of the silent film icon so perfectly that it earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Hollywood had found one of its brightest stars. But fame has a price, and for Robert, the cost was high. The same addictive nature that haunted his youth followed him into stardom. By the mid-1990s, he was caught in a cycle of arrests, rehab stints, and erratic behavior. Drugs consumed his life. Between 1996 and 2001, he was arrested multiple times for drug-related offenses. One infamous arrest included him breaking into a neighbor's home while under the influence, claiming he thought it was his own. His career suffered. Despite brilliant performances in films like Two Girls and a Guy, 1997, and TV appearances on Ally McBeal, Downey became uninsurable, unemployable, and was ultimately fired from the show. At one point, he was incarcerated for nearly a year. After hitting rock bottom, Downey made the decision to change. He credits his recovery to his wife, Susan Levin, a producer he met on the set of Gothika in 2003. Their relationship gave him stability, and with a combination of therapy, martial arts, and total sobriety, he began to rebuild. Hollywood took a cautious chance on him again. Films like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2005, and Zodiac, 2007, showed that the spark had not died. It had matured. Downey was leaner, sharper, and more self-aware. Then came the gamble that changed everything. In 2008, director Jon Favreau and Marvel Studios cast Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark in Iron Man. It was a controversial choice. Marvel didn't even have the full rights to the character's merchandising at the time, but Downey brought something no one else could: authenticity, arrogance laced with charm, and an undercurrent of redemption. Iron Man exploded. It wasn't just a hit, it launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Tony Stark became a global icon, and so did Robert Downey Jr. Over the next decade, he would reprise the role in 9 more films, culminating in Avengers: Endgame, 2019, which shattered box office records and brought Tony Stark's arc to a tearful, heroic close. During this period, Downey also shined as Sherlock Holmes in Guy Ritchie's reimaginings and explored new ventures, including producing and philanthropy. He became one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood, a far cry from the man once considered a lost cause. Since retiring from the Marvel role, Downey has continued to evolve. He took risks with projects like Doolittle, 2020, produced environmental docuseries, and remained deeply involved in tech and clean energy initiatives. In 2023, he delivered a stunning supporting performance in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, earning him his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Through every chapter of his life, from prodigy to pariah to powerhouse, Robert Downey Jr. has been more than a comeback story. He's a symbol of transformation, a man who stared into the abyss and with iron will and heart forged himself anew. Epilogue. Today, Robert lives a quieter life with his wife Susan and their children, balancing family, creativity, and a mission to make the world better. He once said, "I think life changes every year. This is just a little more comfortable." And indeed it is. But beneath